Deviant Drivers. I am Mercury. I am joined here with Junkai, who you all no doubt know pretty well by now. And
Bulgor knows me.
Yeah, is it Junkai or Junkie Eye? Tell us.
It's definitely Junkai, as opposed to the last league that we were in, and how he butchered my name. Call me everything under the sun. Junkie Junk A.
And then they're making a pass as Junkie Eye.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was definitely horrible. But welcome.
Welcome. So this is going to be the first of hopefully many podcast titled "A Drink."
Cheers. Clink.
With the driver. And so I think it's only appropriate that we start with kind of giving everybody, we've got a lot of new drivers, so maybe it's best that we start with the history of Deviant Racing and kind of tell about how we got started with GT7, or just GT in general, and then move into how we actually put this all together and how it came to be. So,
well, let me set the scene, and then I'll let you go with your end, and then I'll go. So, scene. Me and Mercury are playing Call of Duty, and I think it wasn't Warzone. It was the zombie map. What was that called? The big world map, zombie map.
Well, it was Warzone, but it was Warzone Zombies, wasn't it?
I don't know. Someone will correct us. Anyway, nonetheless, I remember playing that. We played that often, and you one night said you had to get off because you had to prep for a race. You remember this?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I made fun of you. Yeah, I made fun of you. So I was like, "What do you mean you got to prep for a race?" And you're like, "I'm racing in a league." Like, wait, because this was all new to me. I've always played like Need for Speed and Forza and all of those things. I never really got into Gran Turismo because I didn't have the patience to work with the tuning and all that crap. So I didn't deal with it. I always went to whatever, the other racing games. So anyway, I found out that you were prepping for a league, and I had fun with that one. Just making fun of your notes and your notebook and your lap times and all that crap. And I thought it was comical at the time. Now I laugh at myself for this. But that's when I first found out about the seriousness that went along with Gran Turismo. And I'm probably one of the newcomers to the game itself. Like, I started in sport. I didn't start GT2 or 6 or 5 or whatever. Like, it was sport when, my son was born, because I had nothing else to do but sit in a chair. So when did you start playing Gran Turismo?
The first one. It was
really?
Yeah, like it was back, gosh, it had to have been, it's been in the 90s, I guess. I don't know. I remember in 2002, 2003, I still had Gran Turismo 2, and I brought that to college with me and played it on, I think it was on PlayStation 2. Hell, it might have been PlayStation 1. I don't remember.
Yeah,
back when they still had those little memory cards that looked like,
Yeah, the same thing. I'm not going to say that. Never mind. Stretch.
So yeah, all the way back then. But I played 1, 2, and 3. I think I got out of it, because of college and everything after that for 4 and 5. And I didn't really pick it up until Sport came out, and then just kind of dabbled in it a little bit here and there until we actually kind of, got more involved. I was starting to do those kind of online league races. Well, not really even league races. They were just kind of impromptu get-togethers, sort of, on sport. Very similar to what we're doing now, but still slightly different. And I wasn't officially a part of anything. There wasn't no league, so to say, that I was a part
of.
It
was a league though. Like you were racing with other guys.
It was just a guy. It was it was just a guy, and he had some friends, and then they would put together stuff similar to what we do, but a lot more ragtag and just
I remember you were prepping for some Miata Cup or Miata race.
Yeah, it was this Miata thing. And then so we kind of got into starting that and trying it out, and then we kind of decided that we were going to recruit some friends.
Yeah, I never joined that. Though.
Our first victim was Slug.
Well, yeah, but you were like, I think GT Sport was like $5 or something like that. You hit me over like, dude, it's $5. Like, I'll pay for it if you have a problem with it. So I was like, yeah, whatever.
It'd been out for a while.
Yeah, and again, I've always loved racing games. You remember that game Driver by chance?
Yeah, the one where you were like the criminal, and was that the one?
Yeah, I can't remember what kind of car it was. It was a gray car, old school car. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up.
Or Nova.
But either that or like, I remember skipping school to go buy the Dreamcast and Crazy Taxi when it came out. Like, I always loved driving games. I just never gravitated towards Gran Turismo. But then, you got me involved in GT Sport. I sucked horribly. Like, I couldn't. It was actually very frustrating because I was good at Need for Speed. I was good at Driver. I was good at Crazy Taxi. I was good at Forza. I was really good at Forza. But then I got into this, and I was like, I was really disappointed and frustrated, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to really focus on this at all because I don't know what I'm doing wrong at the time. But then my son was born, and then I would take the late shift. I'd stay up till midnight with his feeding and everything, and if you remember, he would fall asleep on my lap, and I'd sit there with my little joystick controller and just hammer it out, just trying to get better at it.
We were both on controller there, which is interesting because that's where we both started, was on controller.
Yeah, inevitably everyone started at the controller at some point, but yeah, that's where I started in Gran Turismo was literally sport. So I've been racing on Gran Turismo for what, year and a half?
2 years, I think. Gran Turismo came out the 7 came out in March, I think, a year ago, March. So about a year and a half ago, maybe.
Yeah. So I really started when Christopher was born. So, and he's 16 months old. So it's right around there. But that's how I got into it. And then I saw on Reddit one day someone about a league. So I jumped in there. Saw that they were running teams. Had you jump in there? Yeah. Had you jump in there? We can say the name because they don't exist anymore. But had you jump in, and then they ran it differently. If you remember, they ran teams of 2 with an alternative, or alternate driver. So you never knew if you were going to drive or not, which was kind of frustrating. As to why we've kind of switched it up on our end, but. We did get into some races. I remember you got slapped with penalty points your first race, and they only had 5 people show up.
It was Spa.
It was Spa. Someone knocked out the brake markers right before.
The brake markers.
Yep. Yeah. And you punted the shit out of him.
Yeah. I didn't see it.
No, and you hit the guy who hit the markers the lap before, which is ironic.
That is true.
But, we got in there, and then, we stuck with it for a while. You made some pretty awesome liveries for us with the Bang liveries. And then chaos ensued within their league. Do you remember that turmoil? Like, everyone was bitching at each other, full argument. It was because they started a race when one of the admins said, wait for a second. He came back. And the race had already started. And he just lit into everything. And because he had admin rights, he screwed up some stuff in the league. bailed, took people with them. Like it was awful. Like it was so petty BS. And then we started talking about starting our own, put the Discord together, all that. I can't. So we started racing before the Discord, obviously, though. So.
Well, we started racing. I mean, we were doing these races
via text,
very similar to Sunday Cup in a format for GT Sport back in those days.
Yep.
And I was writing the rules out on paper.
Yeah, I remember your stupid pictures you would send.
Yeah, and we're actually doing this and organizing it not through a Discord because we didn't have a Discord. We were doing it through text messages.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You would send not even a screenshot. It was just a picture of your handwriting. It was so aggravating.
I know, you got so mad. So I started typing it. So I started typing them up, you know.
And then you would take a picture of the screen, which we all know what that does. It gets all blurry and you can't read anything.
Yeah. Yeah. So and then we started recruiting, and our first outside of our circle of friends, our immediate friends at the time, our first recruit was Thrasher.
It was Thrasher. I mean, so our inside circle was Slug, and then Kurosky. Slug I grew up with. Then Kurosky, you know, we've known over the years because he and Slug worked together. But that was the crew. And then we got into the lobbies one night and we got Thrasher in, and then we got Jacus, who ended up you don't know at the time, ended up being what, like 14 years old or something, and
he didn't sound like it.
No, he didn't sound like it until he was like, I can't drive. My parents are telling me I got to go to church. I can't be a part of the league anymore. So they're like, all right, whatever. But yeah, dude, Thrasher's been a trooper from the start. You know, he's not very active on Discord, which is fine. He shows up to freaking practically every single race. I believe I still have his phone number because that's how we
I do have Thrasher's phone number.
You know, but yeah, that was the original 5, was that group. Until our first, when we got Discord open and working through all the kinks that I'm still working through. That Chaotica reminds me about often. Thank you, sir. But then, you know, once we got comfortable, then we rolled out, we set that first invite out. And, you know, some of the invites that we've put out on Reddit, like tank, like we get 0 input. Nobody jumps in, nobody likes it. And it's all, I guess, you know, who sees it, who doesn't, obviously. But that one time that we posted it, you know, we landed Zen, Chaotica, Beloved. No, that wasn't the Besso area.
No?
Nope. Nope. You know, I recruited out of the AGTC. I got Dharma out of there. I got He Who Will Not Be Named. But I mean, that was the core for a while, and you know, it was we had some good races.
8 drivers or so, 8 or 9.
Like 8 consistent drivers, though.
Yeah,
you know, everyone showed up, everyone helped, and it was nice back then because, me personally, I had more time to devote to it. Again, being on the night shift with Christopher, you know, I had from 8 a.m. when my wife went to bed till midnight to really just work on the game. He would fall asleep on me or fall asleep in the chair next to me. And, you know, so we spent a lot of nights just practicing. Zen was crucial to, like, helping us all with, like, the tuning and helping out with some of the ways of cheating the game with squatting the car and different things like that, you know. So I do miss that time of having the time to kind of devote to the game. I don't have that time now. But I mean, that's kind of where it all started. And then we just started cherry picking guys in. I think we did good with a few of our recruits, like from the lobbies. You got Besso out of a lobby. And then like Dirtsy, I got out of a lobby. Because he beat me. still remember that race. But just things like that. And then we just, we'd post on Reddit and get a couple hits. And then, remember we started talking about merging with that one kid. He was like, yeah, I want to do all muscle cars. And I was like, all right, well, you come in, bring some of your friends, and I'll give you, a channel, and you can run just like a muscle car series. Yeah. And he came in all big talk and everything, and then it was nothing. Yeah, and then he came back later on with some flyer and was like, hey, tell your friends. I was like, bye.
Well, we started, it's interesting because, the way this whole thing started was basically, and the Sunday Cup that we still run is basically the same as it's always been.
Yeah.
The layout of the sheets, the rule sheets that all you guys are seeing is almost 98% the same as it was.
They're screenshots, which makes all the difference.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have upgraded screenshots, not cell phones, and I don't have all y'all's telephone numbers, so that is different. But and then we expanded it. We got we did the GT3 league, and then we came up with some crazy ass idea about doing an endurance league with a 3 hour. That was about a couple months ago, and we picked and we ran the first one at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, you're bringing it up, and I know why you're bringing it up. But go ahead and continue. It's fine. Go ahead.
And so, so we did the first one at the Nürburgring.
Who won?
Huh?
Who won that one?
Yeah, I won that one.
Yeah, I just want to make sure everyone knew why we were heading in that direction.
But we were very concerned. We had some concerns about the length of time, because normally our races are an hour ish. Right. And we were like, well, let's go for an endurance race, and it was like we just skipped right over 2 and went to 3. Like it was just 2 was never discussed, and we were just like 3 hours, and we were like, yeah, 3 hours, and then we started thinking, we're like,
we're gonna do this. Yeah, I know, but that's why I recruited for the Nürburgring, because I figured if we're going to do this and it's going to be painful, I want it to be as painful as possible. And the worst track to do this on would be the Nürburgring. So I can't remember who. I think it was Thrasher or maybe someone else that I got to switch their vote over to Nürburgring. But yeah, you won that race, and not even one. You beat her ass on that race. I was so pissed. Yeah, there were some accidents on that race. I was rear-ended on that race. Yeah, that was a good race. I think there were some injuries on that race, like physical ailments from that race. I think Zen changed his shirt like 3 times. I don't know.
Anatole still got
carpal tunnel. Yeah, exactly. So. But no, I mean it's been fun, and it's good because like whatever we throw down, everyone's like, yeah, I'm in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't align with their schedules or whatever, but for the most part, it doesn't matter what BS we throw out there as scheduling or whatever, and everyone has their insight to the rules and whatever, and I get that and 100% appreciate it. But for the most part, like they're just like, yeah, I'm in. Let's do it. 3 hours, Nürburgring, a car we've never used before. Come on, let's do it. So it's
3 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to think from start to finish, we started with a handful of guys, 3 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we're at, what's the current enrollment now? 40
or something 40? Like that. I don't know.
I mean, everyone.
I mean, active wise, it's probably close to 25 or 30. I could check it, but I'm not going to take the time. I would take research, and we're not doing that.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, well, you got time for that. So yeah, it's definitely grown, and it's as a large part to you guys, all of y'all joining. I mean, it's
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers. We've helped facilitate it. We've definitely recruited a lot of you and helped you and given you roles to help us. But this all comes from your involvement and your desire of involvement, and your equal desire to race just like us. At different skill levels.
Mm-hmm.
and that's fine because we all have been at different skill levels and improved throughout doing this. And the longer you do it, the better you get. And it's not till you look back at some of your videos from 6 months or a year and a half ago that you realize how much better you've gone in that
No,
time.
we've all excelled equally. We really have. You know, so it's been good. It's been fun. It's been fun. It's I've received a lot of nicknames from the wife about it, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they don't think too much of it, but at the same time, we don't criticize their eBay or their Amazon purchases or their purse purchases. So
I do. So some of it is deserved on my end, and especially with tomorrow being Prime Day, I'm very nervous. I think I'm going to go disconnect the Wi-Fi in the house.
Yeah. UPS truck will be.
Yeah. All right. So let me ask you a question. All right. So we got the Discord out of the way. Where it came from? How are you here now? Where did your name come from? Mercury.
So Mercury is, I got that because there's this really cool liquid you used to be able to play with back in the day when we were in school, and you pour it out on a table. It's like the stuff that comes in thermometers. It looks really cool. It's like a liquid, but it's metal. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, that'd be a really cool name. And that's not where it came from at all. That's not where it came from at all. It was at the time when I created my PSN account. It was the car I was driving. It was a Mercury Sable.
You want to talk about what color it was?
Yeah, it was green. It was green. It was a Mercury Sable. I think it was an 01 or 02, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The windshield was cracked.
For a period of time until it got hit by a
lug nut.
I think it was determined to be a lug nut.
Yeah, determined. Scientifically determined that a lug nut hit your windshield.
A lug nut hit my windshield, and so it was replaced by a Safe Light at our work parking lot. So yes, it comes after a car that I was driving at the time, and that I had, and I had to, come up with something. So, that's. Well, where does Junkai come from?
Junkai comes from me and a friend were playing Star Wars. I don't even remember which one it was, and I had to create a character name, and he and I were going back and forth, and we came up with Junkai Del Bar as my Jedi name for the game. And then dropped the Del Bar and just stuck with Junkai. Now, I thought that was pretty unique. Apparently it's not, because I got to use Junkai 123 because someone else out there has the same name. So that's a little frustrating. But that's where it came from, is one of the Star Wars games on the Dreamcast or Xbox, I don't remember. One of the two. But yeah, that's where it came from. Me and a buddy, Joey. We were naming our character, and that's what we came up with, and it's ever since. It's Junkai, whatever. Junkai. That's how you say it. Junkai.
So we both started out on controller.
Yeah.
We both at the same time? Well, I'll just say I know that you and I both progressed to the Logitech G29.
Yeah, so I progressed to the G29 based on your feedback. So I grabbed that again for pretty cheap. No, that's not how it went down. You bought it for me because you were trying to slow me down.
That's right. You're right about that. I forgot about that. You and that red controller.
The color has nothing to do with it at all. Don't ask Slug though; he'll tell you something different. But yeah, you bought that for me. So once that came in, I bought the stand for it, and wife bought me a chair for the birthday, and I started using that. Obviously, lost quite a few races getting used to that, and then started getting familiar with it. Now it was good when it came to GT3 with the wheel. Sunday Cup, I stayed on the controller for a good part of it because the finesse that comes with the Sunday Cup, some of those races where you're sliding around a lot, the Logitech doesn't give you the feedback to countersteer quick enough, in my opinion. I have been able to drive on my current setup, which is the Fanatec, but because you feel when you're losing traction on that thing. Logitech, you're already facing the other way, and then the wheel's like, oh, by the way, and like, come on. So that was frustrating in my testing and everything like that. So, you know, certain races when we were doing very stable, fast cars, very precise, the Logitech was fine. But when we were doing sliding cars all over the place, Porsche race that we just did, the Logitech would have been difficult for me anyway on that. And then there again, you've helped me with the Fanatec because you found the eBay posting by that one dude, and I had no desire to even buy one. And I mean, he dropped it crazy price, and then and then I hit him with another price, and I said, look, today I'll bring it. I think it was like $600, and I was like, $600 today. I will meet you, and it was pouring down rain. I was like, I don't care if it's raining or not. I'll meet you halfway, which was an hour to get there.
Yeah,
and sure enough, you know, buddy Silas, who's actually in the league, somewhat, not so much. We drove down there, picked it up. I mean, and it was used, you know, bolts all over the place. I didn't know if I had everything. Clutch was pretty much torn apart. I took it off the foot piece, but got everything working. Didn't have a power cord, but anyway, got everything working. And I mean, thing is beautiful. I mean,
yeah,
the information you get back from the steering wheel, pedals aside, the information you get back from the steering wheel is amazing. It truly is worth it. But I did pay dirt cheap for it. Now you can go ahead and talk about your fantastic setup with air conditioning and power windows and reclining seats.
We'll do a video, a review, a video of it at some point. I mean,
well, at least tell everybody what you have.
Yeah, it's
besides the three steering wheels behind you.
It's a Fanatec DD Pro with the same pedal setup, the CSL pedals with the load cell brake, and the 8 nano Newton meters power brick.
Yep.
I bought it as a bundle, and then assorted steering wheels.
Assorted. Count them up for me.
Oh gosh. Well, there's three
behind you.
Yeah, there's 3 over there. 7. And I think there's another one over there somewhere. So maybe 7.
7. I understand why you don't mention anything about your wife's purses or shoe purchases. Because if so, she'll mention stuff about your steering wheel.
Yeah, so I'll do some video reviews on some because some of them are great. This one not so much. That's the one that comes with it.
Yeah, thanks. That
it's horrible. But we'll do a few videos, and I'll film some videos on it and kind of show you a bit more about them, so that folks that are maybe interested in buying one and maybe interested in some of the things, the accessories and things, you can make a determination for yourself whether it's for you or not for you, and not have to spend.
So I used the new steering wheel that I have for the first time this last race.
Oh, the Club Sport wheel, the Club Sport RS.
Yeah, that was the first time I used that one.
Really? How'd you like it?
Oh, I did like it. Yeah, it caused me to rear to T-bone Fulgore, but that was all the steering wheel's fault. But no, overall, like, I liked it.
Good.
I think for those kinds of races, it is nice to have other areas to grab onto, whereas with the Group 3 cars, I use the McLaren wheel, which is that herringbone, or not herringbone. What do you call that shape?
It's F1 style,
it's
like
F1
a yoke.
Style. Yeah,
like a yoke. Yeah, yoke wheel. Yeah, it is. And that's kind of all the wheels that I have are different sizes, different diameters. Some are F1 style. I've got the McLaren wheel. I've got the Formula wheel. They all are different sizes, different things, and the inputs that you get out of the Fanatec simply by switching a wheel is remarkable. Going from a 270 millimeter Formula One wheel to say this, which is a 350 millimeter NASCAR wheel, the input of the torque is night and day different. Because of the amount of leverage.
Right.
So all these types of things play into it, but yeah, for different cars, they're suited different ways, and of course, nobody needs that many of them.
You got one for every day of the week. You're good.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Everyone could be so blessed.
Okay, so we've talked about history, we've talked about equipment. Now we talk about this past weekend's race.
Yeah, I knew that was coming.
Which was eventful, fair to say?
Well, I will say this. I mean, again, kudos to everybody. This is the first full field that we've had.
On Sunday
16,
Cup,
yeah, 16 drivers. But we haven't even hit 16 on the Group 3 yet. I mean, technically we could, but we're running teams, so that doesn't work. But, I mean, yeah, this is the first full lobby, full 16 drivers. So, and some of them new, but a squirrely car to begin with, different settings, different brake point. Like, it's obviously it was a spectacle to be experienced.
But it was.
And it was also hard track. Spa is not an easy track. GP circuit's not an easy track. And we all know freaking Nürburgring is horrendous.
In the rain.
It was a little chaotic. And it was raining. Yeah. But no, I mean, it was a little chaotic, and it is what it is. I mean, I threw down a hell of a qualifying lap. I felt confident about that. And then I went by turn one, from first to sixth place, and I had to pick my way through the pack. I was catching up to Glovis. It just wasn't enough time left to make it happen. So, but no, I like Spa. I've always liked Spa. I like the flow of Spa. I like how every turn, someone had mentioned this on the chat the other night, how Spa, each turn kind of leads into the next turn. And it really does. And I like Spa. I like the elevation changes. I've always enjoyed that track. So,
yeah, it's I mean, we had surely had a mixture of tracks. We had Spa and the GP circuit, Nürburgring. Nürburgring, that's Nürburgring. I think it only ended up being 2 laps, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yep, that was it.
Yeah, that's it. But in Porsches, in the rain, in the case of Nürburgring, the Nordschleife, it was dark. Well, it was dark at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was getting dark.
Yeah, no, it definitely was. And I mean, I was put in a fortunate situation because of the way we set up our grid. I had what happened during the second race that took me off the track, but that was a personal issue, so nothing against anybody. But it ended up being it's going to be a race that I don't have to drop because I took a 0 on it. The opening of the GP circuit, I mean, it was chaos. It's such a horrible turn for a turn one with so many cars coming in together. It was just nuts. And I know we've had some people say we shouldn't do reverse order, and I understand that because it puts more pressure on some of the inexperienced drivers being up front. But the whole premise of the Sunday Cup was, in my eyes, 2 things. It was to drive cars that would never get to drive. And then it was also to give people an opportunity to possibly win a few. If it comes down to your top few drivers always winning, it gets a little discouraging. I know I would get discouraged. So that's why we kind of set up the reverse order. And, you got to earn it. And it didn't seem to phase anyone because Glovis and Besso still got to the front at GP circuit, as well as most of the top drivers. So it just takes a little bit more finesse to get through the pack, but I think it's something you have to earn. Yeah, and I know they would race each other at the front, but I still want some of the other drivers to have that opportunity to race a couple with, some of the faster drivers, and maybe get the opportunity to take a podium. I mean, Curious Guy's been with us for a long time. I think what Glovis posted like 68 races he started, or 63. It's in the 60s. And he's taken podium once, but I mean, still, I mean, that's sweet. Slug, same thing. I mean, he hasn't had many, but I mean, he's gotten up there. So that's what it's about for me. Is like, yeah, do I enjoy winning? Am I extremely competitive? I am. But to see some of these other drivers get it, I know we've lost and kept a few drivers, but I remember when Aja won his first race. Like, I mean, he hooted and hollered on the mic. Like, and that's, I know he's gone now, but I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I enjoy. And,
he gloated about that for weeks.
Oh, I know. I mean, he was on a high, dude. He messaged me like the whole week. Like, he lived off that for a while. And I mean, to me, that's what it's all about. And, not always getting the win and whatever. I mean, I just like seeing that. So, because I remember my first one, second one, and all that.
And to your point, I mean, it's when you set the order up as reverse order, where you start the finishers of one in the back and so forth. What it creates is that ability, especially for the younger and newer drivers, is that pressure, that nervousness that we all have or had, and it eventually goes away.
Yeah.
And because I know I always felt it before. When I first started, I was like, oh my God, there's like, you look back and there's cars and people are pressing and breathing down your neck.
Yeah.
And eventually that goes away, but that never goes away if you don't feel that pressure regularly. And so it'll help you become better and more confident in the long run by doing it that way.
Yep. Yeah. No, it was a good weekend for a race. Sunday Cup was a little chaotic at times, but again, it was a good introduction, and I'm happy about some of the new guys. That we've recruited just recently. I mean, politeness. I want to learn. I want to help each other out. They've been very involved with Discord already. So I like where we are. I'm excited for where we are. I'm excited to see what the new season brings when we mesh together GT3 World and Sport in the pseudo way. We won't reveal too much.
It's coming.
What I'm getting at is the driver pool is going to be larger. That's what I'm getting at. Not that we're pushing the two leagues together, but we have more of a driver pool to choose from. So all those details will come soon.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah. 100%.
How did you think you did?
But I finished about where I expected. Somewhere in.
Were you happy?
7 to 8 was about. Not really, but I finished about where I expected. Somewhere in the 5 to 7 to 8 was about where I expected. Didn't do a lot of practice with Porsche. I don't particularly like the Porsche. I don't like their understeeriness, and then trying to tune that out, and then also tune out lift off oversteer. It's an aggravating car, and I'm a Corvette guy. You know that.
I think everyone knows that. Matter of fact, you've got jeans on, probably tucked into your polo or whatnot, as your pajamas for bed, and your New Balance sneakers. We've seen all the pictures from Flooding.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, Porsche's not my dig, but it is fun. And like I say, the biggest thing about Sunday Cup and the greatest thing about it is the fact that you do get to drive the cars that we don't normally get to use. And, GT3, everybody's favorite. Everybody loves GT3. But GT3 is a little bit sterile. It's more competitive because cars are very, very closely balanced. And it really comes down to drivers in GT3 more than the cars, even though they are a little bit, one here and there.
Well, it's who can meld themselves with the car that they're running and adapt the best to their strengths.
Yeah. Correct. Whereas Sunday Cup, you get the tuning in most Sunday Cups. There's a few Sunday Cups we run that we don't allow tuning, but most of them are tuning. And you get that opportunity to you could be a driver that maybe is not one of the top drivers in GT3, but you're a very good tuner and could be a top driver in Sunday Cup. Because you know how to tune your cars to your driving style better than anybody else.
Yeah.
So it's a total different league with a total different purpose.
Well, Glovis has excelled in the Sunday Cup, and not that he does horrible by any means in or GT3, but he is more competitive in the Sunday Cup.
Yeah.
So I mean, it does favor some drivers over others. But have you chosen your Clubman Cup car yet?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm thinking about going with the. I think I might go with my old VW Beetle, and I'll tell you why. Because this Beetle, or not the Beetle, but it's the Golf. The Golf.
Okay. Yeah.
The old one, not the new one. The old one, it's like 80s. And
the heavy one.
The reason it still has the same livery on it that carried over from download from our very first race, if you remember which one that was, which was at Broadbean Speedway.
What was I running there?
You ran that little tiny Toyota, that little red thing.
Yeah, I did.
Itty bitty little 3000, the 69 Toyota 3000 or something. And you dominated with it. And so it's got the same livery, it's the same car that I ran in our very first planned
I can respect
race.
that. Yeah, I can respect that.
So I think that's going to be the car that I drive. How competitive it's going to be?
It's so ugly.
Yeah.
It's so ugly. Yeah, I haven't decided yet. I haven't put any thought into it yet. I obviously will here soon, but
I have a feeling we're going to see a lot of Civics.
Probably so. Probably so. I challenge you guys. Choose something other than the Civic. I'll probably show up in a Civic. But anyway. So,
well, it was an eventful week.
Yeah.
We're going to do this again, guys.
I think that sums it up.
Well, it was an eventful week. We're going to do this again, guys. So, and then, we're going to try to make this a regular thing. And I promise you, I'll try to put some videos together of some review videos of equipment and things like that. Maybe, we can make some videos and take you through our rig setups and give you some ideas and some things that might help you. And there's a lot of discussion today in Discord in general. There was a big discussion about equipment and back and forth about what to get and recommendations and everything. So there'll be some more videos to come, and we'll upload those, and we'll talk about some things, and try to give you guys some input and maybe help you along your decision.
Also, we're gonna have some guests.
Yeah, we're gonna have some guests coming too. So I don't know who our first one's gonna be. We'll decide. But we're gonna have some guests, and we're gonna do guest interviews. Yeah. So we'll be bringing a guest in for you guys to we'll do some interviews with those folks. So so join us again. Again, this is Drink with the Driver on Deviant Racing. You're watching this on YouTube, so like, share, and subscribe. I know everybody says that, it's so cliche, but
hit the button.
Click the button. Click the button down there.
Click the button.
So leave us a comment. Tell us what you think. We'd love to hear what you have to say. Shoot us your ideas, and don't hold back. We're all adults. Tell us what you think. You're not gonna hurt any of our feelings. Trust me. Industry we're in.
I did feel bad about hitting.
Yeah, those went away 10 years ago.
yeah. So
I did feel bad about hitting Fulgore. Those feelings came back. I was like, Damn it.
That's a different question for.
Why couldn't have been somebody else? Who would I want to hit though? That's a different question for a different show.
Yeah, maybe that'll be an interview question. Yeah.
Yeah,
We'll
what
have to come
driver
up
would
with
you
something.
want to? If you had one opportunity to run a driver off the road, who would it be?
One freebie.
One
You
freebie.
get one
Yeah.
freebie.
No penalty points.
Like
no
a
nothing.
mulligan.
Not
Yep.
disclosing that yet. So I'm good.
I know who I would drive off the road.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not disclosing that yet. So I'm good. This was fun.
All right. Join us next time for a drink with the driver on the Deviant Racing series. Have a good one. See you on the track.
Later. Night.
So, welcome, Deviant drivers. I am Mercury.
You have to start over.
Why?
Because I was fucking with the lampshade.
So, welcome, Deviant drivers. I am Mercury.
You have to start over.
No.
Why?
Because I was fucking with the lampshade. And my phone's on.
Aren't you going to edit this?
Yeah, and I can't
No! This is raw, man. No condom,
Okay.
no nothing. We're just
So, we're starting from scratch?
yeah, and I can't edit out this shit.